He's a rabbit with a habit. He's skinny but they call him Fat Rabbit. He's a rabbit and there you have it. If he offers you a drink you better grab it.
Chapter 7. Epilogue. It was a very muddy, wet, bedraggled, but triumphant group of animals that gathered around Fat Rabbit's kitchen table an hour or so later. The despair of just a day before had melted away like a nightmare with the coming of a spring morning, as excited chatter told of bold deeds and cunning manoeuvres. The invaders had been repulsed, which is really the only thing to do with invaders, and the perimeter secured, the only thing that perimeters should be. Unusually, the high-backed chair at the head of the table was empty. On this occasion, our hero was to be found sitting on a stool against the Aga, a blanket wrapped around his shoulders, a glass of Fitou in his hand, and a Marlborough at his lips. Treacle had, hot on the heels of the invaders, dashed to Heinitz to secure ample supplies of vino, and Archibald had liberated a packet of 20 from a colour desperate to retreat. "I'm not sure you really should be smoking and drinking in your state," suggested Treacle, as she passed Fat Rabbit another tissue. "Course I should," said Fat Rabbit after blowing his nose. "As you know, the only way to keep disease at bay is to ensure that your body isn't a fit place for any self-respecting virus to want to live in." But, protested Roger, "you're really poorly with Foot-and-Mouth." "Bugger I am," said Fat Rabbit. "I've got a cold, that's all. Granted, it's a bit of a rampant one, but it's a cold, that's it." The other animals looked confused, but left it to Roger to risk opening his mouth to be proved a fool. "But you caught it off Melissa, didn't you?" Fat Rabbit took a long draw on his cigarette, and turned round to look at his friends with that unmistakable twinkle in the eye that tells of cunning plans that have reached fruition. "Achoo!" added Melissa for emphasis. "Melissa hasn't got Foot-and-Mouth, you daft buggers," smiled Fat Rabbit. "Haven't I?" asked the much relieved Porker. "No, not at all. Look, the nearest case of Foot-and-Mouth to here is 10 leagues away." Fat Rabbit was very fond of a league as a unit of measurement, as it was an unspecified distance that most people don't understand. "None of you ever venture further than Heinitz, and the only visitors we ever have are Bongo and Lester, who are certainly not hooved. Therefore, there is no possibility that the Foot-and-Mouth virus could have found its way here." The rabbit took another drag on his cigarette to heighten the dramatic tension. "However," he continued, "if one was to spend most of the night outside in the cold and damp, getting rained on, singing 'We shall not be moved,' there's a high probability that one might catch a cold." "Which," interrupted Lightning, "as my previous explanation expounded, is identical in its symptomological and contagion quotient, its R value, if not its etymology or genetic structure, which would therefore likely result in the mistaken identification of the viral condition." "Precisely," said Fat Rabbit. "Man, that's too clever by half," said Flues. "Now cut thyself," purred Fitou. "Achoo!" sneezed Roger. As the sun finally made a late appearance and shone weakly over the edge of the valley, Fat Rabbit poured himself another much-deserved glass of Fitou, looked down at his paws, and pondered for a moment as to how little differences can cause such trouble. Then, pulling his blanket around him, he stood up and raised a glass to his friends. And now, if you don't mind, I'd like to go to bed. I've got a bugger of a cold coming on. It always ruffled his fur when things happened that tended to hint that there may be a great deal more chaos out here than that. Ah! Out here? Out where? Out there. Then they shut the gate, without so much as a by your leave, at which point Cheryl had the good... Cheryl? Cheryl. Cherry, Cheryl, Sherry. Sherry, too much sherry. Cheryl. That bloody time, purred Plato as Fat Rabbit arrived. I was just telling this knobhead that we don't as such have a leader, and instead operate a mutually beneficial cooperative, not like... not unlike... God, good. But that is precisely the buggering point, he exclaimed exactly. That's what I say. Exactly. Rosie, you've got eyes! Exclaimed Roger, his own eyes widening like collapse. Like something. They just collapsed like a wardrobe person trying to read a story. Oh, said Far. No, oh, said it's far. Said far. He landed somewhat heavily on his bum, right in the middle of a large muddy puddle that soaked his fur with rainwater. I can't see this. Glasses. Wine glasses. Many years ago, this had been the main non-vehicular... I'm not going to be able to say that word, not in hell's chance. Right. Going to have to rethink this one, aren't I? Let's see what happens. Turning to the corporal, the oberst ordered, "Send him on his way, clot!" And with that, Fat Rabbit once more found himself somersaulting, winter salt, autumn salt, air, give me air, it's all that irking. A short while later, the intermittent... Why can't I say intermittent? That's bonkers. Intermittent. It's not a hard word to say. Ag. Fat Rabbit was silent for a while, lost in thought, as the other He's a rabbit, and there you have it. Hooves! He shouted again, raising his glass of Fitou up in triumph. It's all about hooves! Hang on a minute. He's run out of Fitou. Where'd he get that from? There's a continuity error. Right. Redo. Rewrite. Sort. This was very useful for Fat Rabbit. But to be honest, that's not hard. No. Really. Honestly. Get it together, man. Slowly, Woolly raised her front hoof for inspection. Oh, foot. Not hoof. It can't be a hoof. It's not meant to be a hoof. If it's a hoof, it's wrong. They all die. Die. Even Corporal Clot looked impressed. A dickin' metal with bar? Queried the Oberst. Oberst? Starburst. Where the what? I've got no idea where I am. Sorry, sir. Can't pay much attention to him, sir. Major Roger Armand Duke Gum. Let's do that again, shall we? That was about as garbled as a shy horse garbled on Fitou could have been. Played havoc with their bing goods, you know. They're bingos, they're bingo guns, they're played bloody havoc with something, I don't know. Bingo. Major Matinkoff here is a fifth generation Shetland. Old Shep was a dog and I shot him at last. Ponies I don't, because they're not fast. Reet, he purred, fixing the corporal with his I can't say hypnotic. What? With hypnotic. With his hip replacement therapy all went wrong. Warns Plato, but sadly, his interjection, didn't like that, didn't we much? No, didn't like that much at all. But a hastily stitched and gaffer-taped polar bear claw remains in the mud. Thus she waves her hoof sheepishly at the coral. Coral? Coral. She, that was like, oh dear, this is going to be a long day. Gas! Quick, boys! Shouts Fat Rabbit, meaninglessly. Bloody meaningless. Well, sneered the Coburst. COVID burst. COVID burst indeed. It was a sneeze of quite epic proportions, the force of which would have flung Rat Babbit. It would have flung Rat Babbit. It would have flung Rat back against the wall. Not Rat back at Rat. He's a rap rabbit. Rap. Fat rabbit rap. Hey, there's an idea. I regret, sir, he said with shouldery calm. That's interesting, isn't it? That's calm. You must carry him little shoulder pads, like in the 80s.
He's a rabbit with a habit. He's skinny, but they call him a rabbit. He's a rabbit, and there you have it. If he offers you a drink, you better grab it.
Nailed it, you bugger.